Mind Power Workshop, and I'd like to start with this quote from a Greek philosopher who died in 135 AD and started out as a slave. And he said, people are not disturbed by things, but their view of these events. So the idea is our mind is very powerful. And so in terms of proof that mind has power, I'd like to just give some examples. And while we're doing that, we'll cross over one leg, opposite wrist over, and I'll explain why we're doing this later. So to me, the most fabulous example of mind power is people who have multiple personalities, dissociative identity disorder, have different physiologies with different personalities. So one personality can have diabetes, the other's not. One could need glasses, the other's not. So really distinct, not little things, but very distinct chemical processes are different with different personalities. So to me, that's huge.
So what you're saying is if you're in this one section of your personality, you can have a physical test and you'd be diabetic. And then if you're in the other frame of mind, you can have a test and you wouldn't be diabetic?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really profound.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another proof is the placebo effect. So you know that maybe 40, 50% impact of placebo. So we give someone a sugar pill and we say this is going to cure your blah, 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 blah. And 40 to 50% of the time it's likely to cure it. And Phyllis is a nurse. Have you seen that in action, placebo?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that it helps.
So me believing that I'm getting something will cure me helps. I just saw a study that people who think acupuncture will cure their pain, heal their pain, have much better outcomes than people who think it won't, and they get the same treatment. So our minds are really powerful. Another one is Bruce Lipton has been talking about epigenetics. Anybody heard of that? So how would you want to explain that?
I think it's where your genetics kind of, you have genes that you come into, you might have one or two, you might have none from your parents. And so they play out, meaning you might be predisposed for, getting something, but it doesn't mean that you can because your environment, the toxins, everything else around you plays a huge factor. You don't have to follow what the gene says.
Right, so we come in with the potential of this line of DNA, but our environment and how we react to it determines which ones express and how they express. So you could come from a line of cancer, 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 but not get it because your environment is different and the way you approach life is different. But you don't bury your resentments and be nice and keep the lid on it and then throws off the immune system. So Bruce Lipton is writing a lot about how our beliefs influence how our cells, how our genes express. So he's worth reading. Candace Pert, she wrote The Molecules of Emotion. Some of you have read her, and in my Energy Tools book, in one of the appendices, I summarize her book. And what she says is that the way emotions affect the body is through the cell ligands. So, let me see where my pen went. Right, where did I put it? There, thank you. So you have all these little cells, and they have cell receptors, a lot of them, around the outside of the cell. And the ligands are, like you could have a virus for a flu, and if someone is in love, that flu ligand is not likely to fit in that cell receptor because the person is in such a positive state of mind. But if someone's depressed, then the virus ligand can fit in the cell receptor and hop right in the cell.
That sounds logical.
Yeah. So she's been very important because she explains the mechanisms. I mean, we know psychosomatic medicine, we know that emotions affect the body, but she explained how. So through these ligands. Okay. So the other explanation for the power of thought and mind is quantum physics. Another kind of balancing is you cross your wrist, grab a ball of foot and a heel as high as you can go, is what does quantum physics study?
The molecules,
The subatomic particles, the little tiny parts of the universe. And they know it's a weird, crazy world. It's not like the world of the big things that we can see and touch. And quantum physics, quantum mechanics was developed by these brilliant young German physicists in the early 1900s. And one of the things they found is that the whole universe is a sea of information, of energy. We think of it as being a vacuum, but it's a bubbling cauldron of energy. And what's interesting about it is it's informational. So there's a principle of quantum non-locality, which is really, really important if you think about it. And what quantum non-locality says is if we have two electrons and they're paired around this nucleus, they become entangled, is the physics term. And so we're getting entangled. You're entangled with your family members. You're not entangled with the President of the United States because you don't know him. So that's how often a parent can know what's happening with a child, because you're entangled. So if we take one of these electrons and we send it over to Peru, if we change the spin, then this one instantaneously responds and changes as well. So when you think about it, it's really profound, because there's an information field that allows for communication between these entangled particles. And it's not a wave function because there's no lag, it's instantaneous. So they don't really understand how these entangled particles are able to communicate across the universe, essentially, with no time lag, or how they're able to communicate through the quantum field. So that explains to me why we can do clairvoyant reading and healing from a distance and energy work and energy psychology. All that energy stuff is simply the power of thought transmitted through the quantum field. So we should, if we were powerful enough like the yogis, we should be able to heal our bodies. They could, if you read the autobiography of Yogi by Yogananda, they would transport and be two places at once. Someone would see them in Chico and see them in San Francisco, or they could do all kinds of miraculous things simply because the power of their thought was so developed. Mm-hmm. And in Hinduism they call that siddhis, S-I-D-D-I-S, where you develop those kind of powers because you get so good at controlling, disciplining, using the power of mind. Mm-hmm. So we're nowhere near there, but some human beings have done that. Or like, I suppose all the great healers like Jesus and Buddha, they were just more evolved in terms of how to use their intention.
What does this do again?
I'll get there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so let's see. So when we're talking about subtle energy, I wanted to say a word about the chakras and the meridians, just because they're part of this subtle energy field. So there's 7 major chakras, and they go up along the spine, and most of you are familiar with them. And they're subtle energy conductors, distributors, transformers of energy. And it took me a long time to realize they're also the unconscious mind. Because you always hear about the unconscious mind which is like the 2/3 of the iceberg that we don't see, that affects a lot of our behavior. So I thought, well, where is it? And they're in the chakras. And the chakras are like, they can open and close, and they can be like this, which they shouldn't, it's too open. They can be like this, too close. So you want them about 40% open. We can talk more about them later. And then the Barbara Brennan in her books Hands of Light does a good job of showing the energy field. So there's 7 layers of the energy field, the aura. And the first layer has the most impact on our physical body. And she does a nice visualization that you might want to work with for physical body stuff. And that is, she visualizes the first layer of the aura as vertical blue lines. And then you kind of visualize them, get your hand chakras going, send out beams of healing light, and you comb them out. Because what you want is straight organ. Or we do a lot of the clairvoyant work, imagining like a screen in front of you, so you can, it's easier to look out than try to look back in. So you imagine seeing your kind of a gingerbread shape of you, the vertical blue lines, and you don't have to see them. You can just intend that you comb them out so that they're coherent, because they can be like holes, you know, lumped together. And so a lot of times physical health is about organization and clarity. So when those lines get tangled or off, then it's harder for the body to be healthy. So I would do those combing your vertical blue lines on a daily basis. And then, of course, you know about the meridians. And John Thie did a good job in his Touch for Health work of showing where the meridians are. And I'll pass that around. So when we're doing subtle energy, we're working with those kind of fields. Okay, so my point is that the mind has a great deal of power. In this culture, people are often taught self-sabotage. I'm not good enough, I'm too this, I'm too that, I'm too da-da-da, I don't compare with someone else, I'm inadequate. So we get a lot of messages that shut down the power of thought or the intention. And little kids who see things like fairies or, you know, spirits are told, oh, that's not real, don't pay any attention to that, and they shut it down. Did you have someone like that?
My granddaughter, she's 4.
What does she see?
She sees Baby Michael and Michael, who's about the same as she is. Baby Michael's an infant. And then she's always talking to other kids. She's the youngest of our family, and she's not exposed to too many kids, but she's done it for the last year.
You mean kids who aren't physically present?
Yeah.
Oh,
My daughter did the same thing when she was young. She talked to other kids that weren't physically present.
Yeah.
When else I was living in a house and she saw different, she called them alien orbs or something, with circles, spheres that floated around her in the room.
Yeah. And Margaret told me, do not discourage her.
Oh, no.
So she talks, we've left her alone, and we asked her what Michael has to say, anything like that.
Oh.
But now she talks to like 4 or 5 kids. And she say, I'm gonna go to school with so-and-so. Okay, have fun.
So what is the key to using the power of our minds? It's intention. So we set our intention. I set my intention to raise my arm, and it raises. So in order to have our intention be effective, we need to be clear and balanced. So we're gonna talk next about how to balance the body, and then we'll talk about mind techniques. Okay, so what we're doing is figuring out how to stay clear, centered, balanced, so that we can effectively use the power of thought to achieve our goals. Make sense? Yeah. Okay, so there's a school of thought, kinesiology, and what they say is if we get imbalanced, we get homolateral. And I've seen little boys almost walk like this who have ADD because they're so imbalanced. It's really important for babies to crawl so they get the right-left balance. So when we get homolateral, we get klutzy, drop things, bump into things, fuzzy brain, can't think clearly. So we've all been there. You get homolateral if you're on a computer too much, if you're on a plane, if you're stressed. So we've all experienced that. For me, I drop glass, I break glasses.
I've got that when my blinds went blank, and I was just talking, and then dropped the glass.
Okay, so we get, being homolateral is the problem. So let us see where we are now. So I'm going to show you how to muscle test. You've done some crossovers, so you should be okay, but we'll see. So you're going to take your dominant pointer finger and put the middle finger on the nail bit of the pointer finger, and we're going to keep the pointer finger strong and push down with the middle finger. So if I make a true or good statement, it'll stay strong, and if it's a lie or a bad, it'll test weak. So we are in Chico. We are in Reno, Nevada. So did everyone test strong, weak?
To me, they both were.
Okay, so it's possible to test the reverse,
Mine was strong.
strong, strong, or weak, weak, and it means the meridians are off. They're out of whack. Okay, let me show you another way. Some people like the O-ring, so let's try that one. You can do it like this or like this. And so this is the year 1940. So it should test weak.
No, strong.
Okay, then, all right, so you know that you need to correct, and I'll show you how in a minute. So some people like this, some people like this, some people like this. So this water is good for me. Yeah, it is. I'm going forward. I have rat snake poison. Yeah, I would go back. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, so muscle test with this one. Do you test strong or weak? I mean, you just, you look at it and then push down. And do you get a strong or weak?
Strong.
Strong.
Okay, do it with this one, the cross. You test strong or weak.
Strong. Weak.
Which way is
Okay,
it? Strong or weak?
if I can push it down, that's weak.
Yes.
Okay, if it was weak that way, strong is.
Okay, so we're all out of whack.
Okay, so you should test strong on this because it's bilateral. And you should test weak on this because it's homolateral. Okay, let me show you how to correct. So the easiest way is to cross crawl. And you can do it sitting down or standing up, whatever you want. And you look at your hand and touch the opposite knee.
Okay, I cannot lift my.
Then just touch.
Oh, okay.
But look at your hand.
Oh, look at your hand.
So you bring it back and you're really following your.
It doesn't have to be back. It just has to cross the midline.
Okay.
So this is all about crossing the midline. And you look at it so your eyes cross the midline. And it doesn't take very many of these. Okay, and then other ways to cross the midline are what we've already done.
I can do that.
Okay, and then we switch to the opposite ankle. And then you do this breathing, tongue on the roof of the mouth. Exhale, tongue on the floor of the mouth. And then this is called Dave Cook's hook up. So your ankles are crossed You cross whenever possible.
You know, this.
I mean, excuse me, wrist, yeah, thank you. Yes, good. And the other one.
I can't.
Okay,
Because of my hips.
that's fine. So Donna Eden wrote a book called Energy Medicine, which has a lot of these kind of crossovers in it and working with the acupressure points and the meridians. Brain Gym, have you heard of that? Brain GYM was developed for kids with learning disabilities, and they're scrambled. And so they do a lot of crossing over that. They'll like do a horizontal figure 8, and you look at it. So when I'm working with kids, a lot of times I'll say, okay, let's be an elephant. This is our trunk. And our trunk is going to make lazy 8s all the way up. And Brain Gym does things like you put your hand on your belly button, hand below the collarbone, kind of wiggle around. These are called brain buttons. So this will be good for you, Duluth.
That's the brain button. Yeah.
Yeah, but you have a list, do you have a list of all these books?
You know, in the handout that I sent you, it's in there. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the idea is if you're scrambled, if your meridians are off, if your brain is fuzzy, you're not going to set good intentions to use the power of thought. So we need to be balanced. And one way is to make sure our polarities in the meridians are proper and just cross-growing. Drinking water is also important because the energy system needs it. So that's one thing. The easiest thing to do is to breathe, because you can do it anywhere, any place. And while we're breathing, you can do whichever one you want. So this is one I call 4/8. So we're going to breathe in for 8 through the nose. And hold for 8. And then breathe out like you're keeping a little feather up. And then don't breathe. And the not breathing resets the energy field, according to Gay Hendricks, who does a lot of research about breathing. So let's do that again so it's in your muscle memory. So breathe in through the nose for 8. Hold. Exhale. And don't breathe for as long as it's comfortable. And breathe. Some people like the alternate nostril breathing. When you're doing yoga. So you breathe in and out the same nostril. But the problem is a lot of people breathe shallow breath from the upper lungs, and we don't get enough oxygen doing that. And the body thinks we're in stress if we're breathing short, shallow breaths. So it's really important to do deep breathing so you feel your belly rise and your diaphragm move. So if you're stressed, go right away to a deep breath. And the long exhalation calms the parasympathetic nervous system. So the body goes, fight or flight, my little adrenals are going, stress hormones, cortisol, and if you do the long exhalation, it calms that response. And then breathing with the tongue on the roof of the mouth, exhaling on the floor of the mouth, that connects the governing meridian that goes up the spine and the central meridian that goes to the chin. So let's try that. We'll breathe, tongue on the roof of the mouth. Exhale, floor. Tongue roof. Tongue floor. That always is calming for me. Do you feel that?
Yeah.
So breathing is so cool because you can do it anywhere. We have to do it anywhere, but not short, shallow breaths, deep breathing with a long exhalation to calm down. And it's a good idea to hook these relaxation exercises to a trigger, like a red light. So I'm driving, I come to a red light.
Yeah.
So, or I'm brushing my teeth, I ground, or whatever it is. So it becomes a habit. Okay, so the acupressure points are the points on the meridians. And you saw the chart of where the meridians go. Some start from the earth and some start from the sky, yang and yin meridians. So this, we can stand up and this is a nice kind of connector for the meridians. So you hold out the palm up in one hand and we're gonna thump. Turn the palm over. Other palm. Palm down. Then we go down the side of the legs, up the inside of the legs, down the back of the legs, up the front of the legs. Let's do that again. So you start here, palm down, down the side of the legs, up the inside of the legs, down the back of the legs, up the front of the legs. That feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah. That is good.
Yeah. And then there's a chiropractor MD who developed a system called NATE, where they do muscle testing and work with allergic reactions, and she developed the gate points, GATE. So these are what she thinks are the really important acupressure points. So Michael Turk, who's a local acupuncturist, says don't bend your thumb because it's not good for it. You want to go in kind of straight thumb.
He's an acupuncturist?
Yeah. So let's do this. Go in through your right. So you're like digging into China here.
I have a vibrator thing that I use, which I was brought, Mark uses.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I love, yeah.
It just like
It's
pocket.
It's a vibrator, yeah, just in it's for the, yeah, just, yeah, and it's a breaking time.
And then heart meridian. And if you have any of these points that are sore, this is in the indentation of the elbow. If any of these points are sore, then you need to stick with them. Other elbow point. Heart meridian on the side of the hand. Digging in here.
What's that one in the digging part? What is that again?
I think maybe it's large intestine, but I'm not positive.
Oh.
And then 4 fingers above your ankle bone, and that has 3 yin meridians going through it. And a lot of times it's tender in women. It's not for me, but if it is, you need it. And then in between the big toe and the toe next to it, and the other big toe, and 4 fingers above the ankle bone, and back to the right thumb. So it's thumb, elbow, elbow, side of the wrist, side of the wrist, thumb, 4 fingers above, big toe, 4 fingers above, thumb. So it's good to do those every day.
I do it in the morning night vibrator.
Oh, good.
And then my regular too. You know, those pulsing eye break, he does that too sometimes. So, yeah.
So the meridians, let's see if there's a whole bunch of them along here, and if you read the Energy Tools book by Donna Eden, she'll tell how to calm a meridian or how to get it activated. They have their alarm points that you press if something needs to be released. So there's a whole system that you can do. That's a good book to work with. So let's see if there's anything else. Then reflexology is another way to balance the body, and you know that reflexology thinks that there are points in the feet, hands, and ears that correspond to the body. So you can, here's the ear points. So you can rub your feet, and it starts kind of head, works down the body, and you do it as hard as you can, or think it.
Oh, okay, I can do that.
That's right.
And the on the feet, the spine is right here, which looks kind of like the spine, and the male and female organs go over the ankle. But if anybody has a sore spot on your feet, do you? You can look here and see what it corresponds to. Also, it's good to do the webs in your toes and your hands, because this has to do with stimulating the lymphatic system, which doesn't circulate on its own, as you know. We need to exercise to get the lymph system going. So this helps. And the hand chakras are the same way. And the ears kind of set up like a fetus with its bottom at the top going down.
Oh, yeah.
So it's good to rub your ears. I do all this stuff in my Pilates class. The tapping away, rubbing it.
Where do you do Pilates from?
That's sports club. I'm always multitasking. So if you're someplace where you have nothing to do, then you can rub your hands, rub your feet, rub your ears, and then other ways to balance the body are stretching, doing yoga, and using essential oils, flower essences, nutrition. I want to show you some pictures about nutrition and the power of thought. This is the Carillion photography of a frozen orange and a fresh orange. Carillion photography was invented by a Russian who took these photographs without light and used to see the life force. So I'll pass those around. And this is a person's energy field who eats junk food, and this is a person who eats healthy food.
Question, so if you make something, you freeze it, and you thaw it to eat later, does that mean once you've been in the refrigerator, you killed it next?
It's not killed, but it's not as vital. The chi isn't as much. So, for example, this is a raw organic tomato. This is one slightly cooked.
Oh.
So you can see they still have life force, but not as much. So we want to put as much chi in our body as we can. And then I'll show you some more pictures of life force and intention. You've heard of Emoto, Dr. Emoto's photography of water in Japan? Everybody's heard of him. So what he does is he takes water and sets intention. So this is Tokyo regular old water, and then it was treated with a Buddhist mantra, and it turned into this.
Beautiful.
Isn't Isn't that pretty? So if you can do that to water, our bodies are mostly water.
Right.
So we can do that as well. So there's lots of pictures on the internet of Dr. Emoto's work. He's done it with music, like heavy metal versus Beethoven, Hitler, A Couple in Love, and people for a long time were saying, well, but his results haven't been replicated. He would freeze it and then slice it and look at it under a microscope. But I read someplace that it has been replicated. This is a really nice picture of a healer's fingertips and the arc of energy going from the healer's fingertips to the person they're working with, and all the life force and the healing energy coming out of the fingertips. Isn't that cool? And this one is really super. These are photographs taken by a British former science teacher named Harry Oldfield, and he invented a video camera that takes pictures of people's auras. I have pictures that he took of mine. This guy, where the red is, there's congestion. So he had muscle pain in his arm. His liver's congested because he drinks too much. And people did hands-on healing and he turned green.
Wow.
And this is interesting too. This is bladder cancer. So, cancer is so vital and active and growing and that it creates this kind of burst in the energy field.
Not a good burst.
Not a good burst. And these are my energy field, and then this is Jim's.
That was Bill the one that did that? That does energy fields? Or no?
Oh yeah, Bill Buchenhauer has a machine
That
that does it. You put your hand on a plate.
What does he do? He does the energy fields. I'm not sure what else he does.
He does massage and different kind of healing techniques. He has a lot of crystals and stuff. And this one illustrates that people's auras reflect their emotional state. Oh yeah. So you can see like physical colors like red and orange are physical vitality, and blue and white are like higher states of consciousness. Okay. Then I just wanted to include this because it's an atom, and most of atoms are empty space, or not empty, but not full of particles. So they say that 99% of us is space. That's quantum physics is so great because everything that our senses tell us is wrong. So that because we're so much water, or because we're so much empty space, it's easy to work on it. It's not dense. Okay. So when you're feeling a little off center, the way to balance is do anything that crosses the midline of the body. Deep breathe. Do your gate points, do your thumpies, and you can rub your hands, feet, and ears. Experiment with essential oils, flower essences, and let's see, what else? Oh, just in case anybody wants to preserve their vision, Chinese traditional medicine said you make little pinching feelings around the orbs of your eyes, and you go in spirals, and then you go out. Pinch, 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 pinch. And then you're supposed to do this 100 times a day. You're supposed to press there's like little indentations above your tear ducts. Can you feel those? You're supposed to press those 100 times a day. Do I do it? No, but maybe I'll do it 10.
You said there's a handout that
I'm
has
going to
some
email
of
you.
this stuff.
Yes, yeah. I have one here too. All right. So any any comments, questions, observations on any of the body things that have to do with acupressure points and bilaterals and all that?
That crossing thing really helps me because I was dropping everything I was and I was doing this a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then let's turn to the power of mind, thought. It's a good idea to make affirmations, and they say make them in the present time. And what I would add to that is that you listen to any of the unconscious voices that say, oh no, I can't do that. No, that's not possible. So Diane would say, my body is very adept at getting rid of this invasive organism. And then she would listen, oh, but it's, and then you would do emotional freedom technique to tap on those naysayers, which we'll do later. So I don't think it's enough to do affirmations, because if the 2/3 of the mind that's the iceberg, where it went, it's like someone who's 300 pounds and says, I'm going to lose weight, I want to lose weight. But their unconscious mind says, oh no, you won't be safe if you lose weight. You need that padding. All the women in your family are that way. You don't want to get out of the club. So we really have to deal with all those unconscious belief systems that propel us like the iceberg. So that's self-talk. And self-talk, I think, comes down to what can I learn from this challenge? Instead of saying, why did this terrible thing happen to me? Which is a psychologist called external locus of control. I'm being acted on. Things happen to me. Positive self-talk says, I've attracted this challenge for a reason. What can I learn from it? How is this going to make me stronger? I knew a good friend who said, steel has to go through the molten furnace to have its impurities burned out. So that's partly why we're on the planet, is to burn out our impurities and become pure and strong. And I also think we're here to enjoy the creation and to worship in terms of enjoying the beauty of where we are, to give, to do service to other people. But part of it is to learn from our challenges. So self-talk says the glass is half full, not it's half empty. So easier said than done sometimes. And then meditation is a way of keeping the thoughts centered, and you have a meditation CD in front of you, and that's the Berkeley Psychic Institute. I adopted a lot of their running energy meditation. And then there's an interesting institution called HeartMath, and they study the heart. It's different, like the Berkeley Psychic Institute loves the sixth chakra, the Heart Institute loves the heart. And they say it has the largest wavelengths, it's the most powerful. So they have a way to work with the heart to deal with a stressful situation. It's called freeze frame. And so why don't you think of something that's stressful or bothersome? You got something? Mm-hmm. And then see it as a movie or video playing. And then freeze frame it, pause it, put it on pause, leave it, and go to a time when you felt happy, buoyant, appreciated, full of love, joy, and feel into that happy situation. A lot of times I'll think of like giving birth, seeing that little head come out. And then you kind of superimpose that feeling into the heart, like breathe it into the heart. And then you turn it over to the heart to find the solution and guide you to the solution. They're interested in science, so they've done a lot of work about the efficacy of the freeze frame. So you put your awareness in your heart, think about breathing through it like it's your lungs. Look at your video of your problem situation, your challenge. Freeze frame it, pause it. Go to a time when you felt great. Bring that back to your heart. Breathe it in. And then turn it over to your heart to present solutions to the issue. So it's worth trying. You can experiment with it and see how it goes. Okay. Then we're going to do the visualizations. The crown chakra, top of the head, which is like a regular ice cream cone. So the first chakra loves red, and you can ask what color your first chakra is, and if it's kind of pinky or whitey, you don't want that. You want really bathe it with red, ruby red. You can match Dorothy's ruby red slippers. Match something that's really red and vibrant, a gorgeous fresh tomato or something. Rubies. So first chakra, you want to surround it by a hollow tube, like a redwood tree, a waterfall. Sometimes I'll just think sewer pipe, big drain pipe. And then what this is like an anchor that's connecting us deep in the earth. And let me just take a look. So Krista, you can keep it wide as your hips all the way down. Pat, don't go down to look at it. Look at your reading screen. Oh.
Okay.
I'll make you kind of nauseous. So Diane's grounding type is, it looks narrow, so make it wide as your hips. So think big redwood tree, and let that be a conduit to the strength of Mother Earth, to grounding, to deep rootedness and joy in our connection to the earth. Gratitude for being on this planet where we can learn so much because it's so dense. And Dulles grounding pipe, let's see. It's a little other dimensional. So think of grounding here, now, Chico, this day.
It feels like I'm in another world in a way,
Yeah.
by transformation.
Ah, yes.
Clear light to here and something.
It is. You're absolutely right. Another really simple energy tool is put today's date in front of it.
Today's the 7th?
Yeah. So you just put today's date, your name, where you are, and that's a way of getting you here and not out of the body. And doing the centering visualization keeps us in the body too. And aren't we always in the body? No. We have words like spaced out, spread thin, out of it. Can you think of any more words? Schizoid. Daydreamer. Yeah. So we want to be in the body to manifest here. We don't have to always be in the body, but to manifest we need to be here. So it's good to ground. You can also ground another person with their own energy. You can ground a room. You can ground a project, especially something that you put off, like doing income tax prep or something like that. Ground it. I use it if I'm hiking, going over a log on a creek. I ground. I was skiing and came out on a really icy, steep slope that I wasn't expecting. So it was a big surprise. So I was just thinking ground, and sides up down that hill. But I use it all the time. Ground a vehicle. So the more you experiment with it, the more you'll learn about how it works.
Use a visual, which just say ground, is that?
I do both.
Okay, so when you go down the slope, do you have little trees in front of you going into the ground?
No, because I think of my grounding.
Oh,
right.
you've got your own grounding. as you
Yeah,
go. Okay,
yeah.
So it's with you all the time.
Yes.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
Okay, not in front of you.
No, no, we don't want it anywhere
Okay,
but right.
I put down
Yeah.
here. So we're grounded.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's do a little exercise. So why don't you two stand up and face each other, and you two stand up and face each other. And you need to get away from the chairs so you can go.
I guess we could go over here.
Okay, so Krista, you're gonna think ground or unground. And the way to unground is think of walking on the beach in Tahiti or wherever you'd like to be right now. So Della, think ground or unground. And then when you're ready, open your eyes, and they're gonna give you a pretty good little push on the shoulders. But your eyes need to be open.
Okay.
You can push it harder.
You can put it there.
Okay, so you were grounded, right, Della?
Yeah.
All right, so unground so she can feel the difference. Do it. Okay, and then switch.
Okay.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Let me stand
Ungrounded.
on Pat, and then you, so that you can push out.
Okay, so,
Pat's gonna ground, you did it both ways.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Pat, you're gonna ground or unground, don't tell Krista, tell me when you're ready.
Nope, not yet.
Okay, all right. Okay. You're grounded.
She's grounded.
It's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, I'm grounded.
Yeah.
I don't want to knock it over yet. You won't be grounded.
Okay, unground Pat.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, wow.
Okay.
That one was too hard.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good.
That's amazing.
That one,
Yeah, wow, yeah, we ground, all right, I'm grounded, push me. Yeah.
I mean, it's solid,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
like the redwood tree, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
redwood tree's good. That's beautiful too. So remember, these tools are only useful if you use them a lot. Practice and you get stronger with them. So ground yourself, ground your vehicle, ground your room, ground a person, ground a project, ground a goal.
Now, when you ground a project, how do you do that?
Yeah.
Grounding you?
Well, okay, let's say we're thinking income tax.
Okay.
So I would think of grounding the folder with my records in it. I would ground the computer where I'm gonna
Okay, so you are
type.
actually grounding something else
I
besides
grounded
you in that case, yeah.
Roots coming from the bottom too, couldn't you?
Sure,
Yeah, like
Yeah.
roots,
Tree
yeah,
roots,
like
yeah.
roots too.
yeah, whatever works for
So
you.
your car, just visualize your car just being.
Yeah, but what I put it on like a skateboard, so it can
Oh.
move.
Okay, oh.
Because you don't want
So
to,
you know what's, that's true. I knew to stop and go and it's like, okay, I'm ground. So on a skateboard, so it's grounded to the earth, but it can still.
yeah, and you can put like protection
Yeah,
around
I
it.
would do that, I would do those.
Yeah. Good. Okay, and you can ground animals. So you could try if you have like a barking dog in the neighborhood or something, you could try grounding
That's
it.
interesting.
Or also a cat who likes to run around.
Whatever.
For her, though.
But it experiment.
She's got the barking dog upstairs.
And then next door, yeah, I like.
You can experiment.
Yeah,
Okay, so now we're gonna do the visualization
yeah.
for,
Down there. Below the,
oh yeah, thank you, for protection. This is simple. You imagine roses 360 degrees around you, under your toes, over your head, and you don't have to have them close in. You can have them be arm's length so you have room to dance in there. And then if you want to get kind of fancy, you can imagine a two-way. So the exterior roses receive other people's energy and keep your space clean. And the interior roses radiate health, well-being, happiness, joy, colors that you like. And colors have frequencies. So if you want energy, what colors would you use?
Red.
Right.
Orange.
Orange.
What if you want mental clarity?
Oh.
Yellow.
Yellow, yellow.
Yeah.
Maybe I should wear more yellow.
The only problem is this thing I am, which I was raised in,
Yeah.
they say red has a terrible energy. So for me, I've always been.
Well, then
you
use
know,
orange.
Yeah, that's better. Or golden, would that be better? Because when you say red, I immediately, because they believe it's not got a good energy.
I think it's fabulous energy.
So
It's
yeah,
the first chakra.
Yeah, so that's why I was.
Yeah.
So you need to get
By
rid
its
of that.
vibrant.
Yeah, see,
So-
it's really hard when you know, heard your whole life.
Well, then use
Change it.
orange.
I know, change it.
No, use orange, it's fine.
Is orange okay?
Yeah,
All right.
it's vibrant.
We'll
Okay,
get it.
what about healing, calming? What colors?
Blue.
Blue and green. Yeah. And then spiritual colors are like purple and
Because
things.
that's what I see purple all the time. No. When I close my eyes,
Hmm.
the whole blackness turns into purple.
Oh,
That color purple, you know.
cool. So the trouble is sometimes, let me look. Yeah, sometimes people have like spaces in their roses. So I just found a new technique is you can put up the roses by section. So you can think, there are roses all over the front right half of my body. There are roses all down the right side of my body. There are roses all down the right back, left side, left front. So sometimes we found that helps. That's a new discovery. Because if there's holes in it, it really doesn't do the job. Okay, then the Energize is the gold suns that you all know. So the idea is when you clear, when you release down your grounding pipe, then nature pours a vacuum, the same kind of garbage to come back in. So we need to fill in with what we want. So this is the visualization, the reminder. You imagine a gold sun, S-U-N, over your head. Sun, 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 sun. And we always start with amusement because amusement creates flow and receptivity. So I read somewhere that luck is being in the current, in the flow of the Tao. And if you step out of the current, you get unlucky. So we want to be in the current where we are listening to, receiving our guidance. And being amused is a way to stay fluid in the current. So we put in a lot of amusement at life's lessons, like Shakespeare said, we're actors on a stage. So fill your gold suns with amusement. And then put in there vibrant health, good health. And let's all put energy in Krista's in terms of continued process of renewal, building up the energy field, recharging the batteries. And in Pat's, let's put being guided how to put her foot down in an effective way that's not obvious to others, so she doesn't come across as an egg. A subtle way to put her foot down. Okay, that's in Pat's son. And Diane's, we put in there the immune system figures out how to get rid of any little invader guys that are not a natural part of Diane's system. With it, I recognize you. Chop, chop, chop. And in Duluth's, regaining your total mind power and ability to think and remember sequentially. Okay, and whatever else you want to put in your sun, do. The sun gets so big and so full, it opens up and it comes in through your head, through the torso, fills the abdominal cavity and all that's in it, comes down through the thighs, knees, calves, and feet. And Barbara Brennan has a useful, simple tool called the Hara line. And that is, you imagine that you have a straight line through the midline of the body. And it starts at the, above your head at what she calls the core star, which is like the seat of the soul. And then it comes in through the crown chakra, goes through the midline, goes through the hara, the energy center below the navel, and down through the grounding pipe. And what you want to do is make sure it's straight. It's very simple. So let me take a look. So Krista's hara line, it kind of breaks at the fifth. So just connect it at your throat chakra. And Pat's hara line, it starts diagonally from your right. So it misses the top of your head, it comes in a diagonal line. And so just really visualize and intend that the hara line comes in through the top of your head. I'm waiting for it to move.
I see it all the way from the top of my head down to my,
Grounding pipe. Good.
yeah,
It is now.
yeah.
So Diane's hara line, it looks kind of swirly, kind of curly-Q-ish, and above your head, and we don't want that. We just want a simple straight line. So we said that health is about being organized and coherent. So this is a simple technique to maintain that coherence, is just to have a straight hara line. Udella's hara line, let's see what's going on there. Well, it goes down straight till it gets to your first chakra, and then it flattens out, it goes horizontal. I think it's trying to kind of give you a base, but you don't need it because you got your grounding pipe. So have it go straight down. Okay. All right. And then whenever I do the gold sun, I also like to imagine that we have planet Earth between our hands, and we send her love, healing, appreciation, the message that we can't continue abusing her. People get the message, we have to take care of her. Okay, so you can do that gold sun throughout the day, feeling a little draggy, a little tired. Whoops, time for a gold sun. And what I've seen work on parasites and colors, I just remember this, Diane, is a really high vibration, kind of platinum white, kind of really high frequency, kind of like, and then you can do suns with that through your body. So the frequency and the vibration is so high that parasites can't stand it. And then I would run a gold sun through again, because white kicks us out of the body. We only use white to channel when we're going out. So I try, and you can run your energy with the platinum white, just like how you would ordinarily run it, and then make sure you go back to gold. Don't leave yourself in a white space. Okay, so any questions about how to center, ground, protect your space, energize? They're all in the handout and in the Energy Tools book. So this has everything I know about healing, clairvoyance, and applying the tools to basic daily life, the basic tools. Okay, then the last visualization we'll do is to get answers. So imagine that you have this big screen in front of you, and put up a rose on the screen and yell out what color it is, please.
Yellow.
Yellow.
Okay. And then I'm going to make a statement, just like we did with the muscle testing with your fingers, the self-muscle testing. And if it's true, the rose will bloom, look great. If it's false, it'll disappear, wither, turn into dust, whatever your personal symbol is. Okay, so you're looking at your rose, and so Franklin Delano Roosevelt is currently the President of the United States. What did your roses do?
Well,
Diane, what did yours do? Okay. It does, all that matters is that you have a sense of what's a no
It just
or bad.
blank.
Okay, great. Then clean off your reading screen, blow roses, and then put up another rose. And Barack Obama is currently President of the United States.
a big, huge flower.
Okay.
Blooming.
Okay. All right. Well, then let's try something that's personal to you. So you need more vitamin C. What'd your roses do?
Neutral. Let's see.
Mine was green and got bigger.
Okay, so that I take that as a yes. Bigger, that's a yes.
Mine just didn't do anything.
Not a big deal. Okay, so you can play with that. It's called a truth rose in the Berkeley Psychic Institute system. So you can play with that when you can do the muscle testing, and you can do the truth rose. And I wouldn't make a huge decision just based on that. But you can use it as a way of gathering access to what your unconscious knows. And when I'm traveling, if I have to buy water, I'll go like this over the water bottles. Strong, I buy that one. Vitamin brands, buy that one.
That right there and the golden.
I just go push. So it's weak, say, and this one's strong, I'm gonna buy the strong one.
Okay.
It's just hard to have arthritis in the
Yeah,
fingers.
yeah.
So this works better for me.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, because I can't walk that.
Yeah, some people like this better,
Yeah,
this or
that's a good
this.
idea. Yeah.
whatever, or you could hold the thing, and if you go forward, it's good,
It's
backwards, not. So whatever works for you. And one more use for the roses is for clearing. So if something bothers me, there's nothing I can do about it. I put it in a rose and blow it up. I put it in a rose, fireworks. I keep doing it. And if that doesn't work, I put it in the rose with the intention of going down the stem into the earth to recycle. So if you want to get rid of something that's bothering you, and there's nothing you can do action-wise, put it in a rose and blow it up. For fun, a visualization for unexpected money.
That's good. Oh, I love this.
And add, if you have a pen with you, add more zeros. $1 is nothing.
Yeah.
Here, Sasha, you should do it too. You got a lot of zeros.
So we got 11 million.
Okay. So you can keep this money in your hand. And visualize a balloon, or you can blow up your balloon. And as you're blowing it up, you're sending the expectation of a good source of unexpected money. And don't tie it off yet. Okay, so we visualize the balloon, we put in the goal, unexpected money, we put in the feeling of, yes, unexpected money, how cool. And then we release a little bit to release anything that stands in the way of receiving unexpected money from a good source. So let a little bit out, anything that would stand in the way. Out it goes. Okay. Then you can fill it a little bit more with amusement. And we said amusement creates flow. And then 100%, so we don't want any air pockets. And then 100% enthusiasm. You can tie it off. And she fills it 100% with gold miracle dust. 100%. 100%. 100%. Okay. Then we undo the grounding cord. We put on it to ground it. We turn it into a helium balloon, and we send it off to do its work.
I haven't been able to try it off yet.